Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be doing my top 5 most disappointing movies of 2024. Yes, I'm at the end of my year list now. I've done my top 10 horror movies of 2024, but this is the most disappointing. And when I say disappointing, that means they are movies that I expected something from, but I didn't quite get there. They're not the worst movies of the year or anything like that, although some of them are quite low. And there's a couple on here I do actually like, but they just didn't hit the heights that I thought they may have hit. So I hope that all makes sense, guys. And if your favourite movies of the year are on this list or anything, it's just my opinion. I'm not speaking for everyone or anything. I just thought I'd get that out there. And I'm also going to be doing my most surprising movies of 2024 as well. And look out for a big ranking video where I rank every single horror movie that I watched in 2024 from the worst to the best. So let's just get into it now with number 5. Number 5 is going to be Abigail. Yes, I know a lot of people might turn the video off here, but I just expected a little bit more from this, from the guys from Radio Silence, who've made a couple of Scream movies there. They made Ready or Not, which I really enjoyed. So I've enjoyed their filmography so far. And I did enjoy this movie, but not as much as I thought I would going into it. Going by all the early reviews and stuff, and people saying this is one of the best vampire movies in years, I just thought it was okay. I mean, Alicia Weir was great as this very young vampire who's basically got people to lure some humans to this house so she can feast on them and play a game and hunt them down. She's this like predatory vampire who's about 6 years old. So that is a fun concept right there. But I just think the movie was a little bit too long. There are characters here, you know, it's a great cast. You know, you got Melissa Barrera, Dan Stevens, who's the best part of this movie, to be honest. Catherine Newton and everything, a great cast who I like. But there's so many exposition dumps where they're just saying, oh, you're a character with this background and you're this background. And yes, this is kind of a lazy way to write how we get to know all of these characters. But that's fine if you do it once. However, they do it again about half an hour later. And I'm like, haven't we just gone through all this before? That scene could have been cut. And I also think that the movie doesn't know when to end. I mean, there's like, you think it's going to end and then something else happens, little twist and turn, and then something else. And it does it about 4 or 5 times. And I was just kind of tired at that point thinking, okay, this movie just needs to end now. I get what it was going for. We've had a fun time, but it's just dragging it out here. But there's a lot to like. I think there's some great kills in here, some great gore, you know, fun characters to be around. I just didn't think it was one of the best vampire movies I've ever seen or anything like that. And I've seen people saying this is like #1 horror movie of the year. However, I would not be against watching this one again. In fact, I would like to watch it again just to see if them people are right and I wasn't in the mood that day or whatever. But yeah, for now, off this first viewing, I liked it. I didn't love it. And this was a movie that was kind of written for me. A fun, kick-ass vampire flick with a little bit of horror comedy thrown in. But yeah, it was just okay. So that is Abigail. Next up, we have a movie that I actually put on my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024 list from last year, and that is The Strangers Chapter 1, which is weird, really, because I'm not a fan of the original Strangers movie whatsoever. I think it's a very poor film. I don't like the characters in that movie. It's a very long, dragged-out movie with scenes that just seem to go on forever. I was never creeped out in the film, and it's got one of the worst endings in horror history, in my opinion. So when they said they were announcing The Strangers Chapter 1 and there's going to be a trilogy here, I thought, okay, they've got something up their sleeve here. There's something too good on paper that they just can't not make out of this movie. And as much as I didn't like that first film, I thought it was a movie with potential. And then I watched The Strangers Pray at Night and I had a lot of fun with that movie. So I thought, okay, let's kind of go down that same path there. And that could be a really fun time with these creepy looking characters and stuff. And weirdly, this movie was kind of just a remake of the first film. Now, weirdly, I did like this one a lot more than the original. Probably because the 2 main characters in this film are a lot more likable than Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman's characters. A lot of people don't like the characters in this movie because of the decisions they make. Granted, there are some very silly decisions that these characters make, but I just thought they were more likable. I liked the way they were a couple who were in love and stuff instead of arguing with each other like they did in the original film. But that's kind of one of the very few changes they make here. I do think the scenes are not dragged out as much. I mean, they kind of don't linger too long compared to the first movie, but it was basically the same story. And I was kind of like, oh, really? I thought we were really going to go for something there. I still am interested to see The Strangers Chapter 2, because I think that's when they will do a little bit more of an expansive movie, a little bit more of an expansive story going by the ending as well. But this was just a better version of the original for me. And a lot of people do hate this movie. If you love the original, you'll probably hate this. That is fine. I'm just not a fan of that original. This one was just a better remake, in my opinion. But didn't love it or anything like that. And Rennie Harlan is a director who I really do like. But yeah, just a very average movie, really. So that is The Strangers, Chapter 1. Next up is going to be Watchers. Now, the biggest reason I was looking forward to this movie is because M. Night Shyamalan's daughter was making her directional debut, Sharma Night Shyamalan. And I thought, I am very excited to see what she can do, because I'm a big fan of M. Night Shyamalan, despite a couple of duds in his filmography, really. But a lot of the movies I watch from him, I love, like Signs, Unbreakable, of course. And I just thought, I love to see what she can do. And that's maybe a little bit unfair on her, with this being her directional debut. And she's got a lot of pressure there to live in her father's footsteps. But I just thought this was actually a movie I was looking forward to one of the worst of the year. I mean, this one would be very low on my ranking, but I did expect a little bit more from it, just because of the family bloodline. And that, like I said, that might be unfair on her. This basically sees Dakota Fanning get lost in the woods and come along into this, like, sort of room, like a compound where these characters are all locked in, and they basically have to stand there and let these creatures watch them at night, like a TV show, and they can't get out. But there's so many logic issues at play here. Like, Dakota Fanning will find something that the other characters haven't discovered in that room. Like, at one moment she lifts the carpet up and there's something down there, and none of the characters, some of them have been in there for months, have even thought to move that carpet. And it's just like, really? That is bad writing right there. I mean, are we meant to just think that no one would ever touch that? Just things like that. And then the more the movie went on, the less interesting it became when we learned more about these creatures and stuff like that. I was just done by that point. I was like, look, I just don't care. So yeah, not the best directional debut from here. There was a little bit of talent behind the camera at times, I suppose, but this story just didn't work for me at all. And when it's fizzling out and you just don't care by the end and you just want it to finish, you know you're not having a good time. So unfortunately, a bit of a miss for Sharma Night Shyamalan on her debut there. That is Watchers. Coming in number 2 is a movie that I feel like I'm on an island with, and that is The First Omen. I was really looking forward to this. I am a fan of the Omen trilogy that we've got already, and the 4th one is bad. But the original trilogy is one of the strongest horror trilogies out there. I thought, okay, what are they going to do with this First Omen? I seen the teaser trailer, I was like, yeah, this looks awesome. I'm on board fully. And the reviews came out kind of like Abigail, where everyone was saying, oh, what a movie this is, blah, blah, blah. And I have learned over this year, especially, not to start to listen to these people who come out with these early reviews, because they hype the film up way too much. And most of the things they say kind of doesn't really alliterate to what is on screen. Like Longlegs was way too hyped up for me. It doesn't make this list, because I did like Longlegs. I didn't love it. But yeah, that was the case with The First Omen. It just was built up too much for me, but it was already a film I was looking forward to as well. When I went to watch this, I thought the director, Akasha Stevenson, I think her name is, on her directional debut, really did have a great eye for camera, some real directional talent on board here. Nell Tigerfree put in a pretty good performance as the main protagonist, but this movie just bored the absolute shit out of me. Like, this is a film that just, I felt like nothing was happening. And I was just so bored during this film. I thought it was dull. It was, apart from the main character, full of characters I didn't care for. And by the end of the movie, it ends on this big climax where basically you kind of know what's happening. It's a prequel to The Omen. And it leads to the birth of Damien, obviously. But doesn't matter. Does it matter? If you've seen The Omen 3, The Final Conflict, None of this matters. So I just don't really get all taken aback by that ending at all. A lot of people are saying, wow, what an ending, this cliffhanger hangs on and stuff. No, it just didn't work for me. And they actually throw something in at the end that just kind of doesn't make sense. And it, like, they want to make another prequel to latch onto this one if it's successful and stuff. And I was like, no, you're rewriting history here. And they do rewrite history as well, with the mother sort of father thing going on with Damien. And, you know, you'll know what I mean when you see it, but the coyote, is it the coyote? Yeah. I just didn't really like it. I didn't really like it even a little bit. I just thought it was a bad movie. I just didn't get it. I just thought it was dull and boring. And my wife, who came with me, I turned to her and said, did you like that? And she was like, no, it was pretty bad. I just did nothing for me. And I agreed with her. So unfortunately, I know a lot of people love this movie, but The First Omen is in second place. Coming in number one, though, is going to be from a director I've already mentioned on this video, and that is Trap. I was so excited for this movie. I've already said I'm a bit of a Shyamalan fan there. I loved Knock at the Cabin last year, despite a lot of people being a little bit disappointed with that. I thought that was one of my favourite horror movies of 2023. And this was a concept I thought just looked awesome. Josh Hartnett was taking his daughter to a concert, and the SWAT team and the police of the city surround this arena and won't let anyone leave because they know that this serial killer is inside the arena. And lo and behold, Josh Hartnett is that serial killer, and he's got to find a way out without being searched or detected throughout the movie. And he's constantly on edge and stuff. He's got to lie to his daughter at the time, saying, oh, I'm just going to the stand to get some t-shirts. Do you want anything? Are you going to be okay here? He keeps leaving her in the concert, basically, and trying to look for ways out. And I was enjoying this for the first 45 minutes, I suppose. I think Josh Hartnett put a great performance in as this sadistic serial killer, whilst doing the loving father thing. Like, you can really tell when he switches it up from sadistic to family man. But the writing in this movie is absolutely laughable. Like, talk about some logic issues in the watches. This was on another level. First of all, I don't think he could ever get out. There's moments where he's leaving with the biggest pop star in the world with hardly any security checks or anything like that. And later on, just things are happening that just wouldn't happen. Like, he is basically teleporting at times. Like, there's one moment where this singer, who's played by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, gets out of the limo and goes, the killer's in there. And Josh Hartnett's already got out with a change of clothes on. It just baffles my mind how M. Night Shyamalan wrote this movie and thought audiences would not be stupid and would just totally wash over all that. I thought this movie was so disappointing. And after a great concept, it just fell flat on its face after falling off a very high cliff. So yeah, apart from Josh Hartnett with some great acting ability here and stuff, I couldn't look past the logic issues, and it tries to be a very serious film, which doesn't help it either. If it was like a bit of a goofy comedy at times, you could probably excuse that a little bit, but there's just so many things here that fall in Josh Hartnett's favour that I just shook my head at. And that is not the only one. There's so many of them, especially in that third actor. So number one, unfortunately, is a bit of a dud from M. Night Shyamalan. That is Trap. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed this video. What your most disappointing movies of 2024? Please do let me know in the comments down below. Am I mad for putting some of these movies on here? Please let me know. I'll get back to you all, I promise. So thanks so much, guys. You take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.